Hello and good morning. Welcome to the Dan Beasley Hour. Not actually an hour, it's a 30-minute show, but it can go as long as an hour. The topic of today is when a nation forgets God. Um, this show is dedicated to religious beliefs and also prophecy and today's news. Uh, Everyone is aware of the bombing at the Boston Marathon. CNN was shooting from the hip, claiming that they had arrested suspects, and turns out, and you can take this for what you believe it to be. I mean, with a grain of salt, if you will. But when that France airliner carrying those students over to France way back in, um, I think it was the early 2000s, um, it was blown from the sky, and there were photographs of something that appeared to be like a missile being fired toward it. Nothing was said much about it. No results ever came from it other than a fuel tank explosion. Now, we've been making airplanes ever since Orville and Wilbur Wright, and we've never had fuel tank explosions to kill so many people, especially on commercial airliners. So I seriously doubt that was the problem. Excuse me, the cockpit in that aircraft was separated from the fuselage, and it was like in a specific location. But I have to note this, and this is a recurrent theme that's going through all of these terroristic acts. People were thinking it was a terrorist act at that time, but it was never proven to be so. However, there was one over in Lockerbie where they blew one out of the sky. The Libyans did that. They claimed responsibility for it. But if you look at this Air France crash, you'll notice that the Navy was conducting missile exercises close by when this happened. Also on 9/11, whenever the Twin Towers were brought down by two aircraft, um, the government was conducting a false flag attack practice run um, in the same city on the same day and at approximately the same time. Then you have the situation with the Boston Marathon where these people were being told to remain calm. It was just a test, not to be worried, uh, and it was another false flag attack practice run being done by the FBI and the CIA and all of the other intelligence agencies. However, I find it awfully coincidental that the government just happened to be there on the spot, Johnny on the spot, in every situation. And it was kind of strange that they would be conducting the same kind of operation that actually occurred. So this is just mere conjecture. This is just reporting the facts. You can go on and on and on, with other situations. The government just happened to be there. There was high surveillance. There was a lot of things going on. No one can ever explain why Building 7 came down during 9/11, 9/11. In fact, it wasn't even hit by an airplane, so there's kind of a lot of conjecture going on there as to what happened. You've got a lot of engineers that says there's no way that that building was brought down by any other way other than by demolition. It fell perfectly in that spot that it was supposed to fall. I'm not a conspiracy nut. I just call it as I see it. And the government yesterday acting like they had zeroed in on suspects. acted like they had people in custody. They acted like they had people that they were going to be interrogating. It turns out they had nobody, and no one is in custody as of right now. So, we're back to square one. What is the common element in all of this? It looks like to me the government is is involved in it some way or somehow. They had more security there. They had military people there. They had police there. They had Secret Service people there. They were had people going up and down the streets, scanning the streets, and yet this incident still happened. So, what is the moral of the story? You fill in the gaps. Um, all I can say is the Bible has a verse in it that is in, I believe it's in Psalms. I'm not sure, but it says that any country that turns its back on God will be turned into hell. Well, what has this country done, folks? I mean, tell me. We don't even want God on our money anymore. We don't want God displayed on our public monuments. We don't want God displayed in our courtrooms. We don't want God displayed on anything. In fact, whenever Obama went to a certain university where they had a lot of religious symbols, he had them covered up. So the New World Order is obviously behind the agenda of eliminating the Christian and Jewish religions and any other religions, and they're going to come out with their own version, and so everyone can follow along with it. We've got right now, we've got runaway inflation. Doesn't appear to be runaway right now, but if you go to the grocery stores or supermarkets, you'll find out that the prices are changing just like the gasoline prices at the pumps. Here we are floating in a sea of oil, but yet our gas is still above $3 a gallon. And by the way, before I forget this, there was a bomb explode. There was an explosion. Let me put it this way: there was an explosion out in West Texas, a city called West. It was about not too far from Waco, but it was a fertilizer plant, and there are missing people. There are approximately maybe 15 people dead. We don't know for sure. And this happened overnight, and they blew the windows out of the houses and caused a lot of damage and caused a lot of injuries. No terrorism is suspected at this time. However, there's ongoing investigations. So we've had fertilizer plants explode before. If you think you live in a big city or out in the country and you think you're safe, you're not safe anywhere in America anymore. I mean, they've got drones patrolling the air. They can vaporize you from the air using a laser that the Air Force has. They can shoot a missile straight into your home and blow you away. I mean, they've done this to someone from Saudi Arabia and his son. They were suspected terrorists, and they blew them away at in New York, close to the airport, as they were en route to the airport. We've got problems all over, folks. I mean, it's just a world of trouble that's just getting wound tighter and tighter, and there's people that are suffering, and they don't know why they're suffering. But yet, when you look at the Bible, it tells you why you're suffering. It tells you that, you know, any nation that forgets God will be turned into hell. You know, if you go anywhere nowadays, you cannot see anything other than pornography. I mean, it's on the newsstands, at the checkout counters. It's not behind paper wrappers anymore. It's not kept away from the children. They can channel surf and watch any channel they want to, and just about every kind of commercial uses some sort of a mode of sex to sell a product. And this country has gone crazy. Um, I don't know if they're putting something in the water or what, but everyone has gone crazy over sex, just like it was invented yesterday. But yet, before the 1950s, yes, it did happen. Yes, there were a few bad girls known to carouse with men and go off with men and everything. But for the most part, the moral standards of the day were a far cry stronger than they are today. And we were closer to God, and we held the belief that this country was protected by God, and that was provided for by God, and that it was here because of a command of God, just like the Puritans and the Pilgrims had intended for it to be. But we have perverted it, just like we have everything else. We pervert technology. No sooner do we come out with the internet than we come out with pornography on the internet, and it becomes the biggest moneymaker of all. We have a country that's falling apart economically. The rich are preparing for the country's economic system to collapse, um, and they're not passing the word on to anyone else. I mean, this is something that's going to catch the whole world unawares, just like the Bible said. There will be an economic trap set by the Antichrist to enslave everyone, rich, poor, in bondage, or free. You will be caught, and you can't buy or sell unless you have an identity mark on you. But what is the problem of today, folks? I mean, it's identity. They are looking for the identity of these two gentlemen, or I'm not going to call them gentlemen, these two animals that planted bombs close to, where these people were injured and where they went off. And they did it with compunction. They did it uh, uh, without any moral feelings whatsoever. I mean, they did not consider the pain and the suffering of the victims afterwards. All they wanted to do was carry out their agenda, and they carried it out. Um, the country is in turmoil. I heard someone sent an envelope containing ricin to President Obama. Of course, it was sorted and filtered in the mailroom, and no one was injured. However, they closed the senators' offices and all that because of the threat. And now we've got a government that is kind of lame duck. It hasn't been doing very much. They voted on some important issues yesterday, but for the most part, I mean, we have got a literal mess on our hands, and only God can straighten this out. God is in control, and God controls all the events that happen in our lives, and God controls our situation. And He shed His grace on America during the Revolutionary War. When we were at odds with England, we were outgunned and outmanned and everything else, and yet we still won the war. And we won it by divine providence. And God was looking way into the future to see, and saw, what America's part was going to be in supporting Israel. And Israel is being shelled by the Syrians, and the Syrians are dying by the thousands, and the Muslim Brotherhood is moving closer and closer